So what first inspired me to be a farmer?
That is ridiculous.
I think they're a little bit misunderstood. Our soil conditions are perfect. Every time I look at the field, it's judging it. I'm a judgy guy, I guess. So it's April 22nd today. Beautiful day this afternoon. We are a little overcast, but our temperatures are still warm, probably 75. Our soil conditions are perfect. We experienced a little shower over the weekend, over Easter weekend, but conditions are great. And we're out here with a new hybrid from Pioneer, 13841. Power Core Enlist with Aquamax technology. 13841, Power Core Enlist, Aquamax from Pioneer. That is ridiculous. Hey, this is Neil Denton. That's terrible. So what we've seen out of this hybrid the last couple of years on our farm, we've seen it in plot situations. We've also seen it on neighboring farm in a large side-by-side situation. Really high yielding, really good grain fill. Really, all the Pioneer seeds have great emergence, so they have really good co-germ. If you're planting into adverse conditions, you can still receive a great stand with their quality seed. What we've also seen out of these two new hybrids is they have good stress tolerance. So if you're experiencing a mid-season drought or a late-season drought, these corns have the ability to still continue to yield despite the adverse conditions. So a little something new and different from Pioneer, and we're excited to have it in our field, and we hope you join us on our journey as we talk about over the course of the season what we're seeing out of the hybrid, our experience with it, and then we'll share the results of the harvest with you. So what first inspired me to be a farmer? Well, I grew up in a farming community and on a farm, and most of the men that I always looked up to were either active farmers or retired farmers. And both sides of my family were engaged in the farming business, some in tobacco and cows, and some in crops. And probably because of those factors, being raised in it, being in a community where it's the main occupation, and having a bunch of people that I considered mentors, being active farmers, probably that my earliest memories are on the farm too. And so all those factors, I guess, led to my occupation choice.
What's the most difficult part of being a farmer that no one understands?
I don't know if it's any, because every business is pretty similar, and probably every occupation has a lot of trouble. I think the probably the hardest part of it is like the part that you can't, no matter how hard you work or how many hours you invest or how well you planned, you can have a kink in your plan because of either weather or market situation. And I know there's other occupations that also have similar, similar circumstances. So but anybody in that where weather is a factor would probably know what you were talking about, like when you can't control if it rained or if it was cold or if it was hot, and those conditions affect your bottom line. So I don't know if that's something that nobody would not understand or not, but that's definitely the most difficult part of being a farmer, is being able to put forth 100% effort, having 100% good planning, and still fail.
How do you manage to stay hopeful during a drought or difficult growing season?
That's pretty difficult, but insurance. Insurance is really the only way. I mean, like, without that safety net, if you had 3 or 4 seasons of drought, you might still be out of business anyway, but definitely without the insurance safety net, you would for sure be. Just because at the end of the day, you got to have money to keep operating, and um, if you don't have cash, or if you don't have credit through the bank because you can't make your bank loans, um, your business is gonna end.
What's the most rewarding part of your job as a farmer?
Completing the crop, and when everything for the year has been harvested and either taken to the port or put in the bin, that's pretty rewarding. Successful or not, just completing is a win.
How do you celebrate the good seasons when everything goes right?
Prepare for the next one. No, there's not really a celebration. I just feel happy in my heart and then get ready for the next one.
Can you describe the joy of a successful harvest in one word?
Relieved.
Have you ever felt like giving up? What made you keep going?
Lots of times I felt like giving up, and I, I'm too deep in. I can't give up now.
When you look out at the fields, what's the first emotion that comes to mind?
What needs to be done? You rarely look at one and think, "Oh man, that's perfect." It's always something. You got a weed out there. There's a ditch, or there's a tree fell, or you've missed a row on your planter or something. It's always something. The sprayer had a stopped up tip, and you've left green strips all over. That happened this year, so there's always something. Every time I look at the field, it's judging it. I'm a judgy guy, I guess.
What's the biggest lesson farming has taught you about life?
Never to get overly emotional, either in the good times or the bad times. Just remain even keel. If you get real hopped up on your successes, you're fixing to fail, and if you failed a bunch of times, you're about to win. So just try to stay even keeled. And what I've found is nothing's ever as good as it seems, or nothing's ever as bad as it seems. It's somewhere in the middle.
What's the most difficult decision you've had to make as a farmer?
I think the hardest decisions to make are replants with corn. It's always hard if you've got a decent stand, but it's not spectacular. You never know if you were to terminate the stand, if it's gonna be worse again the next time. And so those decisions are hard, and I lose sleep over them when I have them. And because also, if you were to work it up, and you got a big thunderstorm, and then your soil's running down the ditch, it's pretty depressing. So I think the replant decisions to me are the hardest. I've never been faced with like a super, like a life-altering decision, other than, just starting farming. But, like I've never been in the during my career in farming, I've never been faced with a decision that's like life-altering. It's always just a lot of small decisions that either add up to, either you made a bunch of really good decisions and it added up to success, or you made several missteps and it ended in failure. I've had it happen both ways.
What's the greatest fear you face as a farmer, and how do you handle it?
I try not to fear a lot of stuff because you just get paralyzed and you can't do anything. But I mean, I think more than anything, I just worry about letting people down, especially my family and the people I farm for. So that's probably my biggest thing. I guess that worry about is just being consistent in my life.
What's your favorite memory from working on the farm?
I've got a lot of good ones. I don't know, just probably a lot of the older times when I first got started, and we did a lot more manual labor than we do now. They were hard times, but they were better. They were good times where everybody, you're working together a lot more, and you get mad at each other a lot. But you also your bonds grow tighter because you're sitting there in that struggle together, and you hate the task, but you love the people you're with. Those are the best memories.
What's your least favorite memory?
Least favorite memory. Anytime I'm in a grain bin, that's a bad memory. I hate grain bins. Yeah, they're dusty and I always seem to get sick after I get out of them. So those are my worst ones.
What would you like future generations to know about your life as a farmer?
I can't imagine future generations remembering me, but if they're going to remember me, I'd say that I tried to preserve their soil for their future. So, I wasn't perfect at it, but I feel like I tried to save as much as I could.
What's the one thing that always makes you smile, no matter how tough the season has been?
All my kids, for sure. They're the things that they can be terror, but they're definitely the joy of my life. Love my kids.
What's the one thing you wish you could change about the way people view farming?
I just wish people, I think people struggle with the fact that we use commercial chemistries like herbicides and pesticides, and and also like genetically modified crops. And I think they're a little bit misunderstood. I know nothing's perfect, and definitely those things aren't, but they're probably not as evil as people think. And I'd just like people to know that we're just doing what we feel like gives us the best chance to produce a healthy crop that is at least semi-healthy for the public to be able to consume, or animals that we aim to feed, or they're eating something that's not super dangerous to them. Probably don't want to eat processed food every day, but if you had to eat it for a few meals, that's probably not going to kill you either. Hey, thanks for joining us midway through the planting season. We hope you enjoyed our YouTube. Tune in again next week.